To come, you will be a shelter, Lord, for every generation and every generation to come. You will be a shelter, Lord, for every generation, every generation to come. You will be a shelter. Every generation to come. Thank you. Nice job on a new song. Please be seated.
Good morning. Welcome to Seattle Unity, both in-house and at home. So if you're watching from home, please let us know where you're watching from and type in any prayers. And for those of us in the room, the prayer box is in the lobby, and somebody usually brings me those prayers so that we can bless them at the end of the service. So that said, let's turn to our vision statement together. We are an accessible and inclusive spiritual sanctuary for all ages and stages of life. We offer spiritual practices and a community that honors diversity and encourages self-empowerment. We co-create a world that works for all. Can I get an amen? So a couple of announcements. Qigong is happening today at 11:30. You can still join if you haven't been yet today or also next week. I think it runs 6 weeks. The women's group is also meeting today. And Cindy is hosting a movie at noon upstairs called Whole, and it's a coming-of-age movie. Holes. Got it. I obviously haven't seen the movie. And then I want to let you know, for those of you who have kids and grandkids in our youth, in our Sunday school next week, Andrea is going to be leading a sound bath for the kids during church, so please bring them. Church is at 10, Sunday school is at 10 o'clock, just like regular church. And I just have one special announcement to make, and that is that next Sunday marks Aaron's 20th year with us. And so the congregation has brought you flowers. To bring. So if you have flowers, I invite you to bring them up and put them in the vase. But I just want to say that when Erin came here for an interview, she was, I think, 6 months pregnant with her last child. And, you know, we were so grateful that she was joining our staff. She has been a leader in the New Thought movement. She astounds us every week with her creativity and her love. So, Erin, accept all these flowers from the congregation with our love, because we...
That's delightful.
And after you leave the flowers, greet somebody. And be sure you let Erin know how she's touched your life.
No cats. Oh, they're lilies. I know that one. I know those. Those are Rai. Thank you, Martha.
John insisted.
Oh my God.
So they all have to come back except Mrs. Brown.
Stay standing as you are able. We're going to sing another song together. This is gorgeous. This is going to make a great picture. Okay. Stay standing as you are able. We're going to sing God is My Source. Many of you know this song already. It's by my favorite New Thought songwriter, who is Karen Drucker. We sing many of her songs. One of the reasons I adore her is not just because her music is possibly the most popular aside from Ricky Byers' music, but I know her, and she is a lovely human being. So she's what I call the solid chocolate bunny. She's not the hollow chocolate bunny that doesn't give you chocolate on the inside, only on the inside. She's a solid chocolate bunny. We love her. And this morning, my friend Monique is going to sing it through the first time. So let's give her a listen.
God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need.
Well done. Sing it out. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Do it again. God is my source. Oh, God is my power. God gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Let's change it to love is. Love is my source. Love is everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Love gives me everything I need. Dance break. Go, people. Joy is my source. Joy gives me everything I need. Everything. I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. One more on God. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything that I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything that I need. Twice more. God gives me everything I need. Last time. God gives me everything I need. Yeah, Shazam. That was a lot of flowers, y'all. My husband doesn't do church. He's not into that. But sometimes I come home carrying things, and he's like, okay, whatever. This is going to be one of those days. That whole first half of our service on Sundays is about waking up, connecting, making sure that we're as open as we can be, because we're about to come into a more contemplative part of our service. It's central to Unities everywhere. You will always find we take time for a meditation together on Sundays. Ours is going to be about 3 to 4 minutes of silence today. But our first step into this contemplative space comes from board member, good friend, fantastic human, one of the people I met first here when I came here 20 years ago, because Cindy's been here for longer than that. She got married here. This is Cindy McComish.
My OCD is getting the better of me. Are they balanced? Is it even? If I was to have written a piece, I don't write. Sorry, Steve. But yes, if I was to write, I may have written this. This resonated deeply when Karen sent it. And we're going to think about imagination. Imagination is the Universe by Daniel Lynn Lewis. As I sit here pondering the vast expanse of the universe, I can't help but draw a parallel to the power of the imagination. Just as the universe is limitless, our imagination too knows no bounds. It is expansive, infinite, and constantly evolving. It is the force that can take us places we never thought possible and to push us to achieve more than we knew we could do. Imagination is the key to unlocking our creativity. It is what allows us to dream big and envision the world beyond our current reality. It is the spark that ignites innovation. Innovation, it fuels progress, and we can dare to imagine new possibilities and strike out towards them, making them a reality. When we learn to harness the power of our imagination, we can create a world that is beyond our wildest dreams, and it allows us to envision a future that is bright, full of promise, gives us courage to take any necessary steps to make our thoughts a reality. Just like the universe, our imagination is constantly expanding and evolving. It is a force that can neither be contained, and when we allow it to flourish, it will take us places we never thought possible. It will push us to achieve greatness. Our imagination will inspire us to reach for the stars. It is up to us to learn to harness its power. It is up to us to create a world that is beyond our wildest dreams.
Our chant today is a very simple Om Shanti Om. Shanti is Sanskrit for peace, but it's used as just a generalized chant word in many different religious and spiritual traditions. But that syllable Om shows up globally in very unrelated spiritual traditions. And it's that M, that's what in the voice world we call it the bilabial, 2 lips, continuant. So it's not a B or a P, it's a M. I'm going to encourage you today to enjoy that M. That sound is one of the first sounds humans can make. Babies start with that sound. It's fully universal idea or sound. Greta will sing the chant itself, but I encourage you to enjoy the M.
Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he traveled very far, very far, over land and sea. A little shy, and sad of eye, but very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And though he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. There was a boy, a very strange, enchanted boy. They say he traveled very far, very far, over land and sea. Little shy, and sad of eye, but very wise, so very wise was he. And then one day, one magic day, he passed my way. And though he spoke of many things, fools and kings, this he said to me. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
Ben Black.
Thank you. That was so powerful. Let's hear it for him again. So this year, our theme is called Generations, and it's about honoring our ancestors and those who have gone before us. We're born into a generation with similarities and a special gift to give to the world. Last week I compared it to like a flock of birds being born, you know, kind of hanging out together. That's what generations are, sort of. So when we get to current generations, and we will in a few months, I'm going to build to current generations, we'll have, I'll invite different people to speak on behalf of your generation and what you feel that you are bringing, what gifts you're bringing to the world. So last week we looked at how some spiritual masters and ideas surfaced around the same time. So 500 BC laid a spiritual foundation for humanity to be carried from one generation to another. So during this period, Confucius and Lao Tzu lived, creators of Taoism. The Upanishads were written, which I spent a lot of time on last week. In Greece, the philosophers were pondering big questions, and the Buddha was teaching at the same time. So you can see this generation was just like bringing this incredible ancient wisdom, or what proved to be ancient, it was new then, but this wisdom to us that we have, you know, lived with through these thousands of years, because we're still integrating those teachings from that long ago. Again, the ancient teachings reveal that there is a divine spark within us, that the self, capital S, is limitless and not confined by the body. And the question that I'm going to keep asking us as we move through this is, are we growing into our better angels? Are we evolving? Because spiral dynamics would state that that is true, but it seems like that the more we awaken or the more we advance, whether it be technology or in compassion or whatever, that the opposite is also true, and that our capacity for destruction also increases. So how do we take the best from previous generations and then build on their ideals? Since this is an election year, it seemed appropriate to go back about 247 years ago and explore what was happening then and how it informs us today. So this is the generation that lived, I'm looking at 1777 to 1800. So we're going back. Now, astrologers would say that we define, sorry, I lost my whole page. So astrologers note that Pluto, one of the planets, and I know he's been demoted, so he's a planetoid now, defines a generation. And because of its orbit, which is about 250 years, it lasts between 10 and 20 years in a sign. And during this period, the 1777 to 1800, it was in Aquarius, and it just returned on January 20th to Aquarius. So you have to indulge me here, because many of you know that this is sort of the background of how I view reality and how I think, and I'm not expecting you to go, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. You might be going, what is this? But just stay with me. Stay with me. So the question is, how does the past inform our future? So during this period, we experienced the American and the French revolutions. In this generation, there was this desire to throw off the old ways and to embrace the new. And in these cases, it was violence and war that changed things. So one of my questions to us is, are we facing a revolution again? Do we need a revolution again? Not in a violent way, but with new ideas to change some of the ways in which we have been stuck. And what would this look like if this were the case? So that leads me to the reading that Cindy gave earlier, which is about the power of imagination. Because the power of imagination and freedom were dominant themes during this period. And Charles Fillmore said about imagination, he said, imagination gives the person the ability to project themselves through time and space and rise above all limitations. So it's one of the 12 powers, according to Charles Fillmore. Daniel Din Lewis said, just as the universe is limitless, our imagination too knows no bounds. So any change that is made first has to begin with a thought. It has to begin with the mind. So we can use our imagination for this, like if you want to take a trip, you can imagine where you want to go. You can imagine what the trip will be like. You can imagine where you might want to live. Now, many times the reality may not match up exactly, but you've put yourself in a place that you can fully experience with your mind. Now, we can also conjure up all kinds of negative scenarios with our imaginations. Anybody ever do that? It's called worry. So this is the law of mind action. So the more we can envision a possible future, the more we are likely to follow up these ideas with actions. So I want to share just a short story about using the imagination. I've shared this before, but not for a long time, so maybe many of you don't know it. But when I was in ministerial school, we were not told whether we were going to be, we had orals, we had tests, and we weren't told that whether we were going to be ordained or not until like 2 weeks before the ceremony. Now, unfortunately, this meant that family members were coming in from around the country to come to the ordination, and it could be that when they got there, it's like, well, there's not really going to be an ordination because I didn't pass. And I had my orals, you get 4 over a 2-year period, and in my January test, I ended up with a woman on my committee who was questioning us who did not like me. And I don't like her either, but but she came down on me hard, and I must have represented all the things that she didn't like. And so I got put on what's called the concerned list. And the concerned list means you may not get ordained. And the next test was in June, again, a week or 2 before. So I really did not want to go through this whole 2 years in seminary and then not get ordained. So I thought, what can I do? You know, how can I call this into manifestation? And I lived at Unity Village at the time, and Unity Village had an amphitheater behind my apartment. It's no longer there. They've torn it down. But back in the 1920s, they'd have band concerts out there, and they'd have services, and it had a stage and the whole 9 yards, and it was literally in my backyard. So the night before my test, I went out there, and I stood at the bottom of the steps, and then I heard my name called, Karen Lindvig, and then I walked up to the stage, and then I pretended to shake hands with whoever was ordaining me. I ordain you in the name of the power and whatever. And then I'd walk down, and then I'd walk back to the other stage again. I'd do it again, and I'd do it again, and I did it again. And this is like at 10 o'clock at night. Nobody's out. Nobody can see me. But I kept ordaining myself. The next day, I walked into the meeting with the committee, and I was ready, I was like, okay, now what's going to happen? And the first question out of this person who didn't like me, she said, how do you explain evil in the world? And I had an answer for that because I grew up in a neighborhood where you could call people evil, who were, committing crimes and things, but I always saw the good. So, and I said, I'm feeling like my ministry is the police ministry. It really was at that time. That's what I thought I would do. What I didn't know is she was a police chaplain in her town in Arlington, Texas. And so she was like, oh, you want to be a police chaplain? Well, let me tell you all about it. And for the next 5-10 minutes, she talked about police chaplaincy, and I knew I was ordained in that minute. That's the power of the imagination. You know, we hear that idea, act as if, and then, you know, but you have to, and you know, you have to then let go of it, because that's why imagination and faith work together. So, during the mid-1700s, going back to the 1700s, the roots of the New Thought movement were unfolding in the works of Anton Mesmer. Now, his name is where we get the term mesmerism, mesmerize, and he was quite a flamboyant character, apparently, in Europe. He was a healer, he was a hypnotist, he was a showman, and he had like these vats where people would touch like metal rods, and then they would get healed from this animal magnetism. He would come in wearing gold slippers and a lilac silk robe, and then he would walk around the circle, and he'd send his clients into trances and stare at them, you know. So it's like the whole hypnotism thing. So he believed that there was a magnetic field that could heal. And after a while, for a while, he was so popular, he was getting like 200 patients a day because he was healing them. But then it kind of turned, and it became this scandal, and he had to leave. I think he was in France, he had to leave. But what happened was there was a clockmaker in New England named Phineas Quimby who was aware of Anton Mesmer, and he realized in the study that it wasn't this animal magnetism that was healing people, but rather it was their thoughts and it was their beliefs. And so he, over the course of the next decades, would start to study that idea, which would turn into the unity movement, the religious science movement, the transcendentalists. And Quimby would become known as the father of the New Thought movement, and we'll cover more about him next month. Another movement that was happening during this period were the Masons, the Freemasons. How many of you are Masons? And I know it's supposed to be a secret thing, but never mind. Well, the Masons influenced the founders of the U.S. So it's believed that 9 out of 56 men who signed the Declaration of Independence were Masons, and 13 out of 39 who signed the U.S. Constitution were Masons. We can see the influence of the Masonic order on our dollar bill, the seeing eye above the pyramid. And above the eye, the Latin words translates to, "He has favored our undertakings." Below the pyramid, the Latin words mean a new order of the ages. So there was a new order of the ages that was happening during this period of time. And I feel like as we're moving into this next 20-year period, that we are also moving into a new order of the ages. So, can we build this together using our imaginations? Another Mason who influenced this time period was an African American named Prince Hall. And he was the first, he started the first chapter of the Freemasons for African Americans. He helped build a black activist community in Boston by elevating the cause of abolition. So Matt Williams wrote this about him. Hall was the first American to publicly use the language of the Declaration of Independence for a political purpose other than justifying a war against Britain. Hall submitted a petition requesting emancipation, invoking the resonant phrases and founding truths of the Declaration itself. So in his passage, Hall invokes the core concepts of social contract theory, which grounded the American Revolution to argue for an extension of the claim to equal rights to those who were enslaved. He acknowledged and adopted the intellectual framework of also pointedly calling out the original sin of enslavement itself. So he led the formation of the first Black Masonic Lodge in the US and probably the world. We can see the seeds that Prince Hall planted that grew into the civil rights movement. So we have him to thank. He was the one who called it out first. He used his imagination and his desire for freedom to lay the groundwork for equal rights. So what about women? A woman by the name of Mary Wollstonecraft wrote a book called A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. So women were, at home. They didn't have any rights. They were seen as decorative, right? And she writes, here's a couple of things. It's a very interesting book, by the way. It's very enlightening to read. She says, strengthen the female mind by enlarging it, and there will be an end to blind obedience. Oh boy. I don't know that they jumped on that one. It is time to effect a revolution in female manners, time to restore them to their lost dignity and make them as part of the human species by reforming themselves so that they can reform the world. So again, we stand on Mary's shoulders because these are the roots of the women's movement and feminism. And now it seems like this theme is sort of reoccurring, isn't it? Because it's like we're sort of taking a few steps back here. Women are once again facing setbacks and losing their right to choose. So Mary used her imagination, her desire for freedom, and her abilities that she had to write to change how women were treated and how women were perceived. So what will we do to bless future generations? So thank you, Mary. Thank you, Prince Hall. Other ideas that we have built on. George Washington could have been a king, but he chose to serve 2 terms as president. This too is being looked at and questioned. The first hot air balloon took to the skies, and look where we are now from that first moment of flying and drones and all kinds of things. During this period, the planet Uranus was discovered by Herschel, and you have to understand that up to this point, for thousands of years, we had 7 planets. It stopped, the solar system stopped with Saturn, and then all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute, here's another planet. What does that mean? So it enlarged our concept of the cosmos, of the solar system, and Herschel made his own telescopes. So he made his own lenses, which is how he was able to see what he saw. So we can see the seeds planted here that have grown into the James Webb Space Telescope, which is now reaching out and seeing even more than we could have imagined. So again, the time was charged with the desire for freedom and the unlimited use of the imagination. The ideas, the discoveries from this era changed the course of history. So, when we bring this back home to us, where do you need more freedom in your life right now? Where do you feel confined? Where are you being held back? Where does this freedom need to express for you? And how do you need to envision your own future? How can you envision your own future and the future, not only of your own life, but for our world, for the planet? What is it that you see? How do we create a world that inhabits our better angels? We always wonder what the future will bring. You can look back and see, what people projected 2024 to be like. I was with my daughter 2 nights ago, and somehow the news came up, and she said, I can't watch it. And she visibly became upset, like I thought she was going to cry. She says, Mom, I cannot, so let's not talk about it. I can't go there because I feel like there's nothing I can do. Like I can't have any effect on any of this, and it feels so hopeless that it depresses me, and I really don't want to talk about it. And the truth is, it doesn't have to be this way. that we are entering a new phase. We are entering a new phase of, a peaceful revolution, an idea revolution. A friend of mine, we were having this discussion, and she said, what I've done and what empowers me is to become involved on a local level. As I become involved on a local level, I feel like I'm doing something. And Jackie's niece is on the city council right now. Yay. Joy Hollingsworth. So my other question to you right now is, what are the similarities that you see between now and 250 years ago? And what is that thread that we can carry through, that we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors from that period? So we honor our ancestors, and we bless them for their innovations and their ideas, and we forgive their mistakes, and we vow not to repeat them. So as we close, may we have the freedom and the imagination to build a better future for our children and our children's children. And may we see the best, and may we manifest our better angels. And it is so. Amen. Amen. I had no idea how that was going to work. What? So we come to that time in our service where we share our tithes and our love offerings. And I invite you, for those watching at home, to also please give generously to this moment. You can give through the website or through the number on the screen for the text to give. And so we'll bless it with this statement. I give willingly, joyfully, and lovingly, knowing that God is the constant source of my supply. I give with graciousness and receive with gratitude.
In my end is a beginning. I have only just begun. I am deeper than the ocean. I am brighter than the sun. I am endless shades of color. I'm as constant as the air. I am love. I am truth. I am free. I am flowing like a river. I am open as the sky. I am older than creation. You will find me if you try. I'm as graceful as a raven, flying swiftly through the air. I am love. I am truth. I am free. Free. In the truth you're free. In your love I see what you've done to me. Free. In the truth you're free. In your love I see what you've done to me. I am mystery, I am wonder. I am darkness, I am light. I am struggle, I am sorrow. I am death, and I am life. I am endless shades of color. I'm as constant as the air. You are love. You are truth. You are free. Free. In the truth you're free. In the love I see what you've done to me. Free. In the truth you're free. In your love I see what You are mystery, you are wonder. You are darkness, you are light. Struggle, sorrow, death, life. Endless shades of color, constant as the air. Love, truth, free, free. In the truth you're free. 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 In the truth you're free. In the truth you're free. Free. In the truth you're free. In the truth you're free. In the truth you're free.
Ben Black.
So if we have any chaplains on duty, if you want to come on up here and hold consciousness with me, that would be great. Also want to let you know, for those of you who go upstairs, you might notice that sometimes the snacks are light, a little too light, not enough there. So Carolyn might be passing around a sheet that you could sign up and volunteer to bring something so that we can start to have more food up there and just to make it richer to hang out. Okay, so we want to say hello first to those who are watching from Greenwood, Mount Lake Terrace, sunny New Mexico. I don't know why they have to put sunny in front of there, but West Lynn, Oregon, Linwood, Poulsbo, Roseville, California, West Seattle, Ballard, Bellevue, Corvallis, Palm Springs, North Ballard, West Seattle, again, Upper Rainier Beach, Renton, Washington, Issaquah, Everett, Edmonds, North Seattle, and Welton, Arizona, which must be Chad and Felix. Hi. All right, so let's just take a moment as we put a final blessing on our offering. And we do dedicate and consecrate these gifts to the will, the work, and the way of the living Spirit of truth. And we pray that as you have given, so you receive 1,000 and 1,000,000-fold. And so we shift our energy, and I invite you to be a conduit and director of light. And so right now we send this energy and this light to Wooten, to Michael, who is healing, and also to Melvin and Marie. We see them filled with that spirit of healing light. To Claire and Mary for protection. We see that spirit going before Joe and Sabrina. And for Steve and Catherine for healing. We also hold Inez and Carmen and Judy. And we hold Janet in our prayers, who is about to make her transition as she is in this sacred time of life. May her transition be free and comfortable and peaceful. We also hold in our prayers and light Gary and Georgia, Valerie and Bob, Mary, Belinda, Ellen, Sue and Marcus. We hold in our hearts Demetrius, Patricia, Nellie, and all their loved ones, and Stephanie, and anyone else who comes to mind. Please speak their names now. Israel, Hamas, Ukraine, Russia. And so we join in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
And that's the truth. Yeah, it's like if Heather's not here, we're missing some things sometimes. I'm going to ask you to stand as you are able. Hold hands if you would like to. It's okay to decline as always. Next Sunday after the service, I'm going to have a worship arts meeting. Worship arts is anything having to do with worship. It's the art of designing worship or using worship practices. And this year our meetings will will bounce off of Karen's theme, and we're going to look at practices from around the world in all spiritual traditions that are so good we're still using them after 1,000 years or 2,000 years or things like that. So this first one next Sunday, we're going to create two. Have you ever seen those little tabletop Zen meditation gardens? Okay, they look really stupid and cheesy, and I really want one. So we're going to make a couple of them, and those are going to be in the we'll install them in the meditation hall for the month of February. But before we make those, we're going to look at the concepts underneath it. It's called earthworks and sand play. All over the globe, there have been people literally moving earth as a form of sacred meditation. Today, it's part of sand therapy. I don't know if you know about that, but getting your hands in that sand, that's what we're going to talk about. That's next week. But let's sing for today, wherever I am. Wherever